Hey guys, Lunar1127 here, bringing you Bleach, chapter 496, Kill the Shadow. So last week's chapter is pretty much a setup for all the fights that are about to come in later chapters. Rose is gonna face off against Nana Najakup. Kumamura is gonna face off against Bambietta Basterbine, and Byakuya and Renji are facing off against Asnote and the Luchador Quincy. Yeah, that's pretty much what happened at the chapter. So in this week's chapter, it begins with Kajimaro, Yuki, and Shino and the rest of the Shinigami facing off against the Sternritter, the white-haired Sternritter, or blonde-haired, I don't know. He's like, if you're afraid, feel free to run away, but Kajimaro, he's like, no way, I'm ordering you to halt, but the white-haired Quincy, he just starts toying, I guess he's like toying with Kajimaru's mind. He's like saying, haven't you realized that from the very beginning you tried to deny the fact that this is a matter of life and death, even though we already declared war? And Kajimaru, he just snaps and starts charging towards the Quincy, and which, by the way, is one of the biggest mistakes you'd ever do when facing off against a Sternritter. And 50 Bucks says that he dies next. I'm calling it, he's gonna die next. But right when he got to the Quincy, before he could even swing his sword, I think the Quincy, attacked him. I don't really sure what has happened, because I just see Kajimaru and the Sternritter and blood splatter. At least I think that was blood. So, okay, Kajimaru, I guess it hasn't been revealed if Kajimaru's dead or not, but it's obvious he's gonna die next. After what he did, it's pretty obvious. Of course, we come back to Byakuya and Renji facing off against Asnote and the Luchador Quincy. Byakuya is saying what he said before in last week's chapter. They're enemies of Lieutenant Sasakibe. They're cowards. There's no need to show mercy. I'm surprised Byakuya... Wait, did Byakuya actually has respect for Sasakibe? I never knew that. Huh. How come when a character that you don't even know a lot dies, and then all of a sudden you learn all these things, which you don't get to see? I mean, seriously, the bankai, he had the bankai and he never used it before, and the fact that he's, like, either on par or almost as strong as Ukitake and Shinsui, I mean, come on, it was kind of disappointing. Anyway, Byakuya assumed that Renji was showing him mercy, but Renji wasn't really showing no mercy at all. He was just trying to figure out a way to beat him. But I guess you can't analyze your own battles. You gotta start swinging your sword against them. So whatever. Anyway, Asno tries to take a step forward, but Byakuya's like, don't move. And somehow his Zenmon Sakura was able to cut Asnote. Yet Renji Zabimaru can't. I don't know if this is going to be explained later on, but it may be explained in next week's chapter, or, well, who knows. Anyway, the Luchador Quincy, he's like, hey, Asno, what are you doing? You shouldn't be able to bleed. But he tries to move, but Byakuya's like, you shouldn't move carelessly either. And he falls down to the ground. Yeah, apparently that's it by the Luchador Quincy. Kinda disappointing, really. I mean, seriously, it's the freaking Sternritter. What, is he like the weakest out of all of them to be able to defeat by a trap like that? I mean, apparently Byakuya used his Zenmon Sakura to damage the ground so that whoever takes a step forward falls down to God knows where. Anyway, now Renji and Byakuya are going to face off against Asnote. Byakuya tells Renji that if his bankai gets sealed, Renji should defeat him with his. Renji tries to talk Byakuya out of it, but Byakuya's like, these opponents, we can't defeat these opponents without using our bankai. And then they cut back to Tetsuzaimon, Bambietta, and Kumamura, and apparently Kumamura is telling Tetsuzaimon the same thing. That if their bankai is sealed and they were able to see it, then they'll try to figure out a way to break the seal to free their bankais. And then he cut back to Toshiro and Rangiku, which, by the way, we do get a better look at her new appearance in. Not much to say, it's just, same big boobs, but different hairstyle. That's it, really. Anyway, Toshiro is telling Rangiku that when his bankai is sealed, we'll figure out a way to break it. And then they cut back to Soifun and Omaida, and, they're trying to figure out the same, and it's pretty much the same thing as the previous 3 panels. All 4 shinigami are going to use their bankais to observe how the Vandenreich are able to seal them away, and they'll figure out a way to break the seal to free their bankais. I will admit that this was kind of a smart plan, but they're all using their bankais all at once. And their fights have already started, so couldn't they try to use their shikai to see if they could beat them with their shikai, and if they can't, use their bankai? But then again, these are the Sternritter, so they gotta go all out. But all 4 shinigami are gonna use their bankais at the same time, and I think that's kind of not a smart move right there, because I know that the shinigami can't tell what the others are gonna do, but since they're facing off against the Vandenreich, couldn't, one of them use their bankai against one of the Quincies, and then see how the Quincy seals their bankai, and then figure out a way to break the seal to free the bankai, and who knows, maybe relay that information to the rest of the shinigami? But I don't know, that's just me. So anyway, all four captains are, activate the bankai. Byakuya uses Zenbon Sakura Kageyoshi, Kumamura uses Kokujo Tengen Myo, Toshiro uses Daigaran Hyorin Maru, and Soifun uses Gyakuho Raikoben. And of course we see all the Quincies, Bambietta, Asnote, the Knight Quincy, and Ezio Quincy, who we actually get to see that he has black hair and a scar on his lips. Anyway, they're all getting out their bankai seals. The same seals, by the way, that Ivan tried to use to seal Ichigo's bankai. And of course, one by one, all 4 bankais get sealed. But there is actually more to the seal than meets the eye, because in the final page, Byakuya, pretty shocked by the way, which is kind of surprising because Byakuya, but whatever. He realized that the seal that Asnote and the rest of the Quincies use is not a seal, but bankai magnet to take away the bankai, and that's where the chapter ends. So, yeah, that's Bleach chapter 496. Honestly, it was a decent chapter. It felt a bit short, by the way, and kind of hasty, because all 4 shinigami using their bankais right away was pretty hasty. I guess my theory is actually getting close to being true. I said that the Quincies were able to take away the bankai, but I also said that the Quincies maybe be possible that the Quincies can actually use the bankais that they've taken away. Maybe in next week's chapter, it might probably reveal that Asnote uses Byakuya Zenbon Sakura Kageyoshi against him and Renji. Now, I don't know if this bankai magnet can take more than 1 bankai, but if it can't, then I guess it's up to Renji to beat Asnote and to use his bankai. So, yeah. Also, what's happening with Ichigo and Kurgeopi? I mean, they're still back. Him, Orihime, and Chad, they're still back at Hueco Mundo. So, what the heck is going on? Anyway, I will admit that this chapter, it was a pretty good chapter, I will admit. But I thought that the last 2 chapters were way better than this. But because these fights, I mean, these fights have already started, and they're already using bankais, which I thought was a bit too hasty, too quick at the moment. I mean, I think the fight should last a little bit longer by the shinigami trying to at least use their shikai to see if they can defeat them with it. But if they can't, then they'll probably have to have no choice but to use bankai. So that would have been better, but that's just me. So for this chapter, I'm giving it a 7.5 out of 10. Like I said before, I still like this chapter, but it felt short to me, and these battles have already started, and I don't know, I thought it was a bit too soon for all 4 shinigami to use their bankais. Granted, we've seen how strong the Sternritter really are, but they're facing off against major shinigami, so who knows what might happen in next week's chapter. But then again, these Sternritter were able to kill off like one shinigami lieutenant, and possibly may have killed another shinigami lieutenant. It's still too early to tell whether he's dead or not, but we'll just have to wait and see to learn more. And I'm guessing Kajimaru's dead as well, because I mean he's a minor character that's just recently introduced, so it's possible that he could die. So who knows what might happen? Maybe the Sternritter might kill off another major shinigami. Although it might piss off a lot of fans of who gets killed, but we'll just have to wait and see. And I'm guessing that whoever's facing off against Kenpachi, their seal, it won't matter if they use their Bankai magnet, because Kenpachi, so far, he doesn't even know the name of his Anpakto, so, yeah. Yeah, I guess whoever's fighting against Kenny may have a hard time. I'm just saying. Honestly, I can't wait to see what happens next week's chapter. I don't know. Maybe they might be able to break the Bankai magnet to free their Bankais, but we'll just have to wait and see. Or who knows? Maybe Kubo might kill off another character. We'll just have to wait and see. And also, I'm interested in all the abilities of the Quincies. I mean, maybe they'll try to use their Quincy Volständig against these guys. Who knows? So, yeah, that's Bleach chapter 496. I'm Lunar Spiral 1127, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.